Welcome back. Thanks for checking in for Golf Smarter Mulligans. This is episode number 11. I'm Fred Green. If you're new to Mulligans, these are replays of original episodes of Golf Smarter that started back in 2005 but are no longer available. And as it is with great golf instruction, when it's provided doesn't really matter as long as it connects with you. Hopefully you'll get a couple of great nuggets out of part 2 of my conversation with Billy Bondaruk based on his book, The 7 Myths of Golf. Golf Smarter Mulligans is supported by twoguyswithgolfballs.com, offering premium used golf balls at sometimes half the price of brand new ones. Why would you buy new balls when you can play with premium quality used balls that were probably hit only once and then lost? Can you relate? The selection of balls have been hand inspected, sanitized, and then graded for quality. So even though they're used, they're pretty similar to what you already have in your bag. Golf Smarter and Golf Smarter Mulligans listeners get an additional 10% off every order, every time, with the coupon code GolfSmarter. That's twoguyswithgolfballs.com. That discount offer expires April 1, 2020. Mulligans is also brought to you by Autoslash.com. Autoslash is the rental car booking service that will save you time, hassle, and money. Autoslash.com applies every available coupon code to your next car rental, including coupons you're eligible for based on your various memberships. Then they track your reservation until the day you pick up the car, and they email you when they find a better rate. Sometimes that happens daily. The average user saves 30% off from any other booking site. And Autoslash.com is completely free. So bookmark it now on your browser and use it for your next car rental so that you can get the best possible rate from the completely free Autoslash.com. Now, we pick up our conversation with Billy with a couple of myths that we've all heard but may not actually be helping. In one of the 7 myths of golf, Billy, you say a myth, keep your eye on the ball. Another one, keep your head still. Are you saying we shouldn't do those things?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so should I be looking at the flag or my target and not the ball?
Well, what it is, Fred, when they say keep your eye on the ball, it pretty much translates into both eyes. And if you really, you could actually do this without a golf ball. If you just stood up and looked at something on your rug or floor at home or something.
I'll do it while we're talking.
And, keep both eyes on it and try to turn into your backswing. Try to make a big full shoulder turn. What'll happen to you is your neck is going to it'll have to stay in place, straight up and down. And the further you turn, your head and neck will actually, if you're a right-handed golfer, will start to tilt to the left.
Mm-hmm.
And when your neck tilts to the left, it's one of the most sensitive areas of our body. In other words, if you injured your neck, you might not be able to wiggle your toes and your fingers. So your body recognizes this, and your body will always try to protect itself. So keeping your eye on the ball, which for most right-handed golfers would be a right-eye dominant thing, would mean that your neck would have to tilt to accommodate that. And as soon as your neck tilts to the left, you're going to have probably a development of a bit of a hip sway. In other words, your spine is going to swing over to the right. Your right leg will maybe even straighten out so that your spine can go in the same straight line as your neck.
Okay, I'm doing it, and you're right. I'm with you every step here.
Interesting, in my book, I've got some pictures of Sergio Garcia, who I was down at the University of Arizona. I was a swing coach for the golf team down there. And his sister played on the team, and he'd come down a couple of times a year and visit her. And Sergio's a nice guy. He didn't really particularly want to speak to me about his golf swing, but I did get a chance to take some pictures of him, and he was kind enough to answer a question I had for him once. As he was hitting his driver, and this video is in the 7 Myths of Golf, you can click on it and get to watch the picture. It's amazing how much he turns his face. And my question to him, and if you ever watch him from a face-on view, even on TV, my question was, Sergio, how clearly can you see the ball out of your left eye? I wasn't even questioning the right eye because I know he was completely blind of the golf ball with his right eye. And after he hit a couple more balls, he looked at me and he said, only sort of kinda, not all so good. He literally turned his face so much. So this is the next experiment. As you're standing up now, instead of looking at that spot, get in your golf stance and turn your entire face to the right as you're tilting your spine and everything. And now turn. And watch how much more free your whole body is to turn because you're not looking down at the golf ball with both eyes. Do you follow?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, actually.
Now,
I hope people are doing this with me.
The interesting thing is,
if you're wearing your iPod and you've got earphones in, you've got to be doing this with me. Come on.
The interesting thing is, though, if you watch golfers on TV, and this new thing that we have out, TiVo, is just awesome for golfers because you can click back on a swing, and you can go up to your TV and put your thumbnail on the corner of their head and play it in slow motion. Watch how much these guys move their head. Watch how much they turn their face. Yet those two myths are, I hear them all the time at practice facilities. A buddy says to us, you pick your head up, keep your eye on the ball. It's very damaging. I think I may have mentioned a story in my book about Curt Schilling. I used to teach him down in Tucson, and he had that problem in his golf swing, and it created all kinds of tension. And I remember I said to him, Curt, when you throw a fastball, do you feel any tension? And his answer to me, and I guess this is known in the baseball world if you're a baseball pitcher, but he said, my mantra to throw a fastball is nothingness. And I thought that was so cool. I said, well, what do you mean by that? And he says, you literally have to feel nothing on the right side of your body as you're winding up to throw. And the same holds true for a golfer. And in order to do that, it comes back to your eyes. In order to lose that tension, you better move your head. Now, I'm not saying don't look at the ball. I'm saying see the ball. Don't look at it. See it and looking is two different things.
So what should we do? Should we move our head with our body?
Absolutely. Just let your head move.
Just trust the fact that you're going to make contact with the ball.
Yeah, that comes down to really what your hands are very capable of doing. We have this proprioceptor nerve system in our hands and wrists and our fingers, and if you put your hand out in front of you and then remove it and put it right back, chances are you could put your hand in the exact same spot after a short period of time. Just dart your fingers out in front of you, Fred, and then pull it back towards you and then back out. And you'll start to notice that your hand can get back to the exact same spot without any help.
Yeah.
Now, if you tried to do it with your eyes instead of the proprioceptors in your hands, you could get pretty close to it too. But you're bypassing a system that's much more effective. The reason I say that is because your hands occupy 42% of your brain. Your eyes only occupy 21%. So when we're looking at the ball with both eyes, we're trying to direct our hands back to it with our eyes. Yet if we were just a little bit more free with where our vision was, your hands will just swing down. You ever seen somebody that has just a beautiful practice swing and then they put a ball in front of them and it just looks different?
Oh, I know that person intimately.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. You're talking to him, pal.
Well, Fred, when you swing the club for a practice swing, chances are you're probably not really focused on anything down there. You see some grass, but you're not like looking at a specific blade of grass or like the dimple on the back of a ball. You're just seeing like a whole bunch of grass. Sometimes you're even having a chat with your friends as you're swinging, and you're making these beautiful sweeping motions that don't even take a chunk of turf.
There's nothing at stake.
Yeah, true. But that's interesting because that goes back to what we were talking about earlier. Having something at stake is probably the worst way to swing a golf club, because that puts you into the results. Nothing should ever be at stake. You're just hitting a golf ball.
Well, that's what's at stake. Yeah. Is hitting the golf ball. So, how do you...
It's funny.
Thanks. How do you teach this to your students? I mean, what do you tell them to do? Do you actually tell them to not focus on the ball or not?
It's funny. And we're
and
all
how
different.
Do you teach us that?
I mean, I've worked with CEOs of major companies that all they do for their life is develop goals for hundreds of people underneath them and stuff, and they're very goal-oriented people. And when I tell them they have to let go and stop being like that, they have a real hard time doing it. I said,
Well, look at, they're a CEO. Why would they listen to you at that point? I'm sorry to say, you're a golf instructor, but...
I'm not talking about their business. I'm talking about their golf.
Okay, fine.
Which is completely different. And believe me, if they're 20 handicapper, they should listen to me. I do teach some people out in the tour and stuff. These guys have trouble doing it because of their personality. Mm-hmm. Yet some of them, and I'm not going to say all of them, have experienced the letting go. And it enhances their life. They go out to the golf course and they know they're going to enjoy themselves no matter what happens over the course of 18 holes, because they are not so goal-oriented. When we can let down those barriers instead of building them up as we go and getting more and more frustrated. I mean, think of it this way. Getting away from keeping your eye on the ball, and you're supposed to move your head.
All right, we're gonna take a quick break.
Do you visualize your golf shots?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What does it feel like when you visualize, say, a 250-yard, 260-yard drive down the middle, and you slice it off to the right 50 yards?
Well, first of all, if I envision a 250-yard shot, I'm probably sleeping.
Okay. So
I don't know if I've ever
maybe it's 210.
Okay, fine. Now we can talk that.
Okay, 210.
All right.
And you slice it right.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. Now, you do that for 4 holes.
Mm-hmm.
You start to scratch your head saying, well, what's this visualization thing? Do it on every shot. Doesn't work for me.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're getting frustrated with it.
That's a mild term for it.
Yeah. The problem with the visualization, this is the finest players in the world, they do it, but then they detach from it. They know that they can't get stuck in the visualization because then they can't swing the club.
But they can analyze, and I mean, I'm sure that the pros can know at the top of their swing where their club face is, and when their ball makes contact, where their club face is.
Yeah, doing it thousands and thousands of times.
Exactly.
They do it with their eyes closed.
Right, and maybe they do hit the ball with their eyes closed. But I can't do that.
But when you make a practice swing, there's nothing at stake.
Yep.
Do you have a pretty good-looking practice swing?
Oh, I'm gorgeous.
So
I am so hot.
When you put the ball there, why does the practice swing change into something that causes shots out to the right or to the left or wherever? Because
but you know what? My practice swing,
but
my practice swing, I don't know if my practice swing the ball would have resulted on the right because I didn't hit anything. It may be the exact same swing. I may be able to bring that swing with me, but it's still going off to the right.
Okay.
Because I don't know where the club face is when it makes contact with the ball, and that really comes down to the only thing that matters, right, on a swing is the contact.
Uh-huh.
It's only that brief moment where the club meets the ball, and that's
Square
all.
club face.
And that's what it's all about, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely.
So my practice swing may look good, but I don't know where the club head is.
I see your point. That's a valid point. I think.
Thank you.
Somehow tension creeps into the golf swing.
Absolutely.
Because the ball is there and something matters. Whether it's just, wanting to hit it in the fairway. And again, that's a desire. And hitting it to the right is a fear. But when you just don't care, and again, I'm probably explaining the shot that you once threw down an extra ball and said, I just don't care about this one, it doesn't matter. Whack, all of a sudden it's on the green. You go, where'd that come from?
No, generally I'd say, damn, I'm good.
Yeah. So getting back to that myth, though, that's something. If you want to look at some swings on the tour, even Tiger Woods does it. He turns his face to the right. Vijay Singh turns it a whole lot. So does Sergio Garcia. And I think VJ's head moves a good 8 inches to the right. Now, I'm not talking up and down. I'm just talking laterally. They move it behind the golf ball.
Okay.
Some of the drills that I would encourage somebody to do is actually get pre-tilted.
What does that mean?
Well, you're standing on 2 feet with the golf ball in front of you. Move the ball further towards the left foot. So you're practicing with your 6-iron. And the ball is just ahead of center. Move it all the way up so it's off your left heel. Drag your right foot so it's almost touching your left foot. And then drop it behind the left foot.
Drop what behind the left foot?
The right foot. Drop it back. And then pick up your heel so that you're only balancing yourself with your right foot and you're standing with about 95% of your weight on your left foot.
Am I on my right? Am I standing on my toe on my right, or just my right foot's completely off the ground?
Just the big toe's just there for balance.
Okay.
And then tilt your neck and spine like you're going to get ready to skip a rock. But, of course, instead of a rock in your hand, you'd have a golf club. And just keep your right ear low to the ground and just turn your face and your chest until your hands reach about shoulder height. This isn't really meant to swing any further back than about 3/4.
Okay.
And just hit some balls from that position.
Really?
What it really is it's kind of the impact position, and you're working backwards.
Am I using just one hand, or am I holding the club with both hands?
Both hands.
Uh-huh.
Both hands. That's a fabulous drill for anybody just to make practice swings.
Now, if you're listening to this on your iPod, and I hope you're on a train somewhere, I'd love to be watching. But back it up a little bit and do it while he's explaining that. You can do this, talk about TiVo, and get yourself in that position. I think, Billy, you described it really well. So I'm standing here doing this, so go ahead.
That's a great, the funny thing about learning something like this, I had mentioned something about our hands being 42% of our brain, eyes 21%. Because it's 42% of our brain, our hands are incredibly fast learners. The synapses from your brain to your hands is something like 80 yards per second. But if you're thinking about body parts, like I'm going to try to learn how to make my lower body work better in the golf swing, much slower learning area, your legs, things like that. That runs on a synapsis of about 2 yards per second.
Interesting.
Which seems quick, but the difference is, it takes like a downhill racer a really long time to become a downhill racer. I think there was a little old lady that was 80 that once decided she wanted to learn how to play classical piano, and 3 years later she could play, Beethoven and played in front of a crowd. So, again, you have to realize body motion. You have to do body drills and do them constantly, and sometimes not with a golf ball, without a golf ball.
Okay, so I'm still standing here on my left foot with my right toe, and I'm tilted over here with my club going at 3/4. What am I trying to accomplish?
The spine tilt, and if you're turning into your backswing, you should start letting your eyes move away from the ground a little bit, consistently keeping your neck tilted to the right, kind of like you're going to skip a rock.
Okay, so that
feeling of staying in that tilt is so important.
Right.
Most high handicap golfers come into the golf ball tilted forward with their spine, or tilted to the left, I should say. The best players in the world return to the golf ball with their spine tilted more to the right than they started at address. So if you just pre-tilt it and let your eyes drift away from the ball a little bit, you'll find it easier to be in the better position for impact.
Great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's awesome. And listen, we only have 6 more myths to go. You going to come back? Talk to us some more?
I'd love to.
That would be great.
Yeah. Just remember this. I ended the first part of this with that thing about your golf swing. If it's not all that good, just find something that works for you. I told this to some students recently, and it causes a chuckle, but it's true. You can see some ugly swings out there in the senior tour, and they just believe in themselves. But recently, I was reading The Ugly Duckling to my 3-year-old boy, and he was a little bit perplexed by it. He's a little confused with it. He didn't quite understand what had happened. So I was trying to explain it to him. I said, well, when did the ugly duckling become the swan? And he said, well, that's what I don't understand. I said, was he the swan before he saw himself? He said, yeah. He said, but he didn't know it. And that's the point. Some of us may have kind of an ugly-looking swing, an ugly duckling swing. But if you start believing in it and you get one or two things that work correctly, it doesn't matter what it looks like. If you believe it, it can turn into a swan for you. And that's the fun part about it.
That's the challenge, yeah.
It is. Just believing in it.
Thanks, Billy. I enjoyed this, and thanks for the bedtime story.
You're welcome. Sleep well.